Sangye Nru Parashu Sangye Chedang Tsoge Chonam La Chanchu Parto Dani Kyapsunche Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Rola Panjire Sangye Nru Parashu Sangye Chedang Tsoge Chonam La Chanchu Parto Dani Kyapsunche Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Rola Panjire Sangye Nru Parashu Semchen Tamche Dewa Tan Dewe Gyutan Dembarai Semchen Tamche Dungal Dan Dungal Gi Gyutan Chawarai Semchen Tamche Dungal Mebe Dewa Tan Mindrawarai Semchen Tamche Nirin Chadan Nidan Chawarai Nyamla Nepara Gyuruji Semchen Tam Dewa Na Dewe Gyudan Dembara Gyur Semchen Tamje Lungal Dan Lungal Gi Gyudan Tawara Gyur Semchen Tamje Lungal Mebe Dewa Mindra Wara Gyurji Semchen Tamje Nirin Chadan Nidan Nyamla Nepara Gyuruji Semchen Tamje Dewa Tan Dewe Gyudan Dembara Gyur Semchen Tamje Lungal Dan Lungal Gi Gyudan Tawara Semchen Tamje Lungal Mebe Dewa Tan Mindra Wara Semchen Tamje Nirin Chadan Nidan Nyamla Nepara Gyurji Sajbe Oje Choje Mento Odom Re Roleje Nyoel De Gembandi Sangye Jindu Medembo Ai Dukunanda Jinla Chubasho Idang Guru Ranamenda Lakani Atayami.
Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. This ground spread with incense and adorned with strewn flowers, Mount Meru, the 4 continents, and the sun and the moon, I imagine as a Buddha land, and by offering it to you, may all living beings enjoy this pure land. Thus meeting the teacher, a peerless teacher, is due to the spiritual mentor's kindness. I dedicate this virtue for all living beings to be cared for by excellent spiritual friends. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niradya Yami.
Nyame tabo laje benzepe ta sung tabo tragenze moni kacha chu chindege damba samu ketu pabaji tembe jung yacham chagores tati animpe ta chu kandijina korata nyande ni su mandi bichi kini yamares tati dubi 띵이 라 최 간디지나 코로와다 냠디지는 뒤비 유센데 숨고야 대갑들 가서 다 유센 숨고아레스 다디 제자 코로와 시디가라 나랑 낭줄레트니 아니 뎀버메진도 뎀버은진 뎀버은 짐베 왕기 아니 제 왕기 레사 뇽몽기 뇽몽 도차당 콘트로당 나얄당 다 레기 남장 망보여래 뇽몽 집에는 뇽몽 기티 시동제 라는 메파시다 때 소장 무슨 인지 탐제규라 기티 시동여래 어디 뇽몽 기티 시동데 린징이 남도 왕기 중인상 로틀 왕기 중인상 대왕기다 아니 랭겐 바사 아니 토시브 때문에 마르냥감 저기에 버도 또 수코라다 코라 겸되기야 다 코르와즈데 와다 디 로틀 용기 중레스 와다 코르와 코르세네레 코르와 포레 아니 진제기 랭용강가 에는 남도 딘지 용기 중레스 와다 대순고레스.
So here the text we're studying is a text that is completely contains all of the teachings of the Dharmas within all of samsara and all of nirvana. And this is an incredibly important text and profound text as it is such and so complete. And the name of the text is the jewel ornament of liberation, the wish-fulfilling gem of the noble teachings that was composed by the great physician from Gampopa. And it's really a very complete, all-inclusive text with nothing missing. So it's really a profound and really very important text. There's nothing that isn't included in this. And so it completely contains the teachings on all of samsara and nirvana. Now, when we look at samsara or cyclic existence, what is this that we call samsara or our cycle of existence? This is an existence that we fall into due to our misapprehending appearances. We are deluded by appearances. We are deluded into a realness into what is not real, a trueness into what is not true, and clinging to a realness, a true substantial realness in appearances, then we collect karmas. And due to, again, our clinging to things as real and true and fixed and absolute, we have emotional states such as anger, hatred, pride, aversion, desire. Actually, the different mindsets, the different emotional mind states are infinite. However, it's said that there are, when we put number to them, 84,000. And all of these 84,000, where do they come from? They come from a mind, a mind that imputes a truthfulness where there is no truth, and thus it is deluded. This deluded mind, through this deluded mind, we then engage in actions and activities under the sway of this, these afflicted emotions, and we create karmas. These karmas are that which bind us into this circle of samsara, or cyclic existence. Therefore, we cycle over and over and over again in this same deluded, afflicted way. And therefore, we are samsaric beings. And so, again, what is the very root of all of this is our delusion, our deluded apprehension of appearances. And we are then, therefore, under the sway of afflicted mental states.
다 근데 인도가라 안한소 고로와 빠차르 그래. 풀버길에 연댕이 고로와 고른댕이 두어 보차르. 풀버부 인변하니 풀바도 또 수타가 되지. 차디요래. 가르잖아. 뭐좀 민 남죄요래. 아니 민 남죄데 빼줘 땅에 야고지 땅 두나 대 풀바데 짜와니 매서 둘야기 왔다 든디지 빼 가르쳐 거다. Vikiki satsam de langa zo lepti yores. Ta
Karegi tsatsamla.
dewadan dungangi. Ta chesi tsam de la nga zo ta ngone chena nga zo lepti yores. Ta danda ani pe ngargyun nashin chi tulpe jisun chok. Ani nyomong tangtu len. Ani chik namto tangtu namto ngempa tangtu len de dus chebayina ngamanajin yang dungal lanjudu ejres. Ta namdo ngambade kaso tuduji tulba enipe selyalen bezuji. Tuba tamji yela chaking never mare chaking yore. Chaking di nyamlin lobjonche di nyamlinche ne. Ani twebaji, sambaji, wombaji, twesam gonsung yamatrabaji chede nyamlinche tubina. Ani ngaso tuba zeji minibe nyande siye tuba zepe zechade rangi sem sangdo nuruje de yores.
And so here we all are, samsaric beings, here bound to cyclic existence, deluded in cyclic existence. But there is a good side of all this. We have attained, we are human beings. We have a human existence. And if we put this to good use, if we really use this well, we can actually cut from the very root this, uproot this delusion, uproot the way that we misapprehend things, misapprehend appearances. Actually, we're at a crossroads. We're at the borderline. We're at the crossroads of either great happiness or suffering. And we're there right now. We're armed actually with everything we need. We have all that we need to be able to cut from the very root this delusion. But if we just go on as usual, really just, going with our emotions and doing the same old that we've always done, then we are just ripe for creating the cause of suffering. On the other hand, if we put to good use our time and really make effort in the work that would clear away this delusion, clear away misapprehension or misapprehended appearances, then actually we have everything we need to do this. So if we do this, then we can find ourselves in the non-abiding nirvana. We can find our way there. And how do we do this? We do this if we make use of our time, study well, listen to the teachings, read the teachings, hear the teachings, and then contemplate all of these notions, contemplate all of these teachings, and then put it into meditation. And if we do this, if we effort well in this, then what will be the result is to achieve non-abiding nirvana.
그래서 바다디 청아 중레스 천디 윤동 시제 남담망스 낭배취 오말렘바진 저송레스 맞아 세배 낭배취 장은데나 소야장다 배 셰균 배 자존하진도 배갑배 장야 망보여레스 디나네 다 오네 나랑저 쥐듯이 천디 라렌이 케투야 오네 싸와 잔지 머리 바칸스 제구도 똥이도 별로데 칸스 케구도 아니 장축이 샘데 칸스 케구도 라 진진데 싸와 칸스 제구도 텐데기 닝쿠즈는지 에 낭팔라 에니베 에 추도 오마 테네테나 추도기 젤레데 오마데 퉁 추디 자샤고래 어다 테나진지 나란주 아니 미 남제디기 베제타네 아니 대외 규데 쭉 둥알 규데 빵과야 디숭고아레스 어다티 지제베이나 미 남제 용 수조네 나란주 미 위덴토베 아니 tum데 빼 디부 상포치 주베레스
And so this Dharma that we need to make effort in, now that we have achieved this opportunity, the Dharma that we need to study is vast, it's profound, it is expounded in extensive variations. Vast is the ocean, actually, it said. It said that all of the Dharma that has been spoken is really vast. Vast is the deep ocean. There's so much to study within this, though. What is it that we need to extract out of this and actually take up? What is it that we need to put into practice? It is to completely annihilate and rid ourselves of ego clinging, of clinging to a self, and to uproot and annihilate unknowing, ignorance. And as well, then we need to build up, we need to develop and awaken into the realization of emptiness. And we need to generate and develop within our minds the quality of bodhicitta. So we uproot and annihilate ignorance and self-clinging, and then develop our bodhicitta and work to realize emptiness. We look to eliminate our self-cherishing and look to cherish others. This is the function of the Dharma, and what function will be achieved is we will use this human life well, and we will uproot these things and develop what needs to be developed, eliminate our delusions. And we need to, within this practice of the Dharma, we need to accumulate the causes of happiness. We need to accomplish the cause, what will be the cause that will develop into the fruit of happiness. And we need to abandon the cause that will develop into suffering. And actually, putting our life to use in this way, then we will bring about the most finest fruit, the most finest fruition in just this way.
네 인도 갈라 딱 오니 아주 동안기 잡아대 아니 또 받친지로 zemberzembe zen진 왔다 대차디요 다 딜라 에니페 간 추상 추루 대 에니페 코또 받친지로 인상 zen진데 껴 인상데 시과다 뱀미지 개침부 차디요 된 전주는 숭도 Tene dungal gyurkwe zembarto bang gocha inzir sungdwa. Dungal dengi inzang tendawe zembar me zenzin tokpadi ka khores. Ti ngo khore. Ti mangana eni be dungal zetu maris sungdwa. Tena jinje kazang rosong ato. Tulpale kyonchiye zana tulpa sedikala ngarang so nang na jinji nang yongdu kala 율 컨디션나 수투도 율문이 여봐서는 진지 아니 깬실은 말태버서는 진가 저 수투도 난 거래 근데 낭줄데 낭줄 따따래요만 낭줄 진지로 어디지 거래 고 뭐에 내줄 당갈데 거래 뭐에 내줄라 배나 디틸부선이 데 당보 딜부의 zoyaki lila sobal cha rinda minda juiche yukandang juyake medang ani jubabu kanza dang ani lu gyangin ta tape songin da kanza mambo jinzom gugora ngatu nangtu kana tit guni lola chargi o mare yul khona tilbu khona ngoni yendekin ji chargi ore ote tendawe nangchulde shigure tendawe nangchulde la zenang yore zembrzen be zenzi yore tenwe nangzulde tuldere te tuljite tatere diyor denzinde janda ke mare ta tendawe denzinde machina kyon kare na yani pe dungal thamche te tigin dingres dungal baji longcho gure tendawe tuldegende nordegende zorkyor magyabina yani dungal madota yonya yo mare lare karsana dungal yudi chadiyor chadno wata telab gore.
So what is the root of our suffering, the root of our unhappiness? It is actually our misguided and perverted notions and conceptualizing. We conceptualize things in a misguided way. We're off base with the way we are conceptualizing things around us within our experience. And what is this at its root is that we regard outer appearances in a very real way. And in the Bodhisattva Aritara, the way of the Bodhisattva, Shantideva's text, the way of the Bodhisattva, it is said the source of this suffering is our clinging to a true reality. We must block this. We must rid ourselves of clinging to things as true and real. And the reason for this is if we regard appearances that come into our domain of experience as real, then we have the condition, we are creating the condition to be deluded. And so this is what we have to work against. This is what we have to reverse and turn around. The way that we view outer appearances, where Geshe-la was using his bell, we see an object and we just impute a realness on it, an actualness on it, a trueness on it, just like it appears. But the way it appears is actually perverted. And if we stop there and just take that at first look, then we are misapprehending it and we have a deluded appearance or perverted appearance as well. Because the way it appears is not the way it actually is in its actual ultimate state. And so actually the way it appears is contradictory to the way it actually is. But what we do is we just look at that form and take it at what it is, the way that it first appears to us. And so it's actually within our own apprehension from our side, the way that we are taking in and regarding things, that the mistake lies. It's not like the object is doing all this on its own. It is the way that we view it from our side that needs to be repaired, that we need to fix. We need to fix the way that we view things. Because it is not true from, true and real and actually existent from its own side. It is the way that we look at it that we pervert that. And this is the source of all of our suffering. And if we don't fix this, then there's no way to happiness, because we will have already created some suffering's cause.
계속 참되는 발절들이 주발의 현지는 동안 바질이 줬도스 주바 이수수 남기르잖아 라메찬주 톱전은 기로서 숨도와 다땡원에 domge가 왔다 당원에 dom래 말한서 데키기 짜와 다 상기 고방데 다 타르토베 데키도 차디요 타르토베 지데기 냥데 차디요 다티 간데지 주바의 이시도 कदी छरगे ठुबा कदी सेगरे से ता सांगी के सा दुबुन्यांदे आनां जो सेम देंदों सेम राजे ö사와데 나 मोता छे ने देंदवे सेम 기 ösal와데니 에님 동니 도베 로잉올게 자주기 셈 로잉올게네 냠nen체네 에니베 즉 동니 도베 로데기 에니 추구 담바도 장주기 샘되기 누구 담바도 추수구 꾸이티 대람 탑신이 냠nen체네 추수구나 꾸남 두바나 애니페 당원이 두바 탐쟁 가니 두방 가비 슐라 애니페 랑게 샘데 애니페 이시수 차리온 그래 다때 숨고하래 다때 좀 전부 개거라 다 섬로만 보잖아 맞아 디 베지티 퉁퉁들이 삼루만 못 당고 그래. 데니지니 저기지하래.
아니 포케라 아니 컷 카발랍송 포케라.
봐봐. 출바 이슈도 남기르잖아. 라메찬저 톱잖아 기로스. 출바를 끈지에서나 동al 바지를 줘도 젠도아.
올라서.
출바 이슈도 남기르잖아. 라메찬저 톱잖아 기로. 다들 팅아징이가 너무 침묵하게 왔다. 오늘 다 유전디 순거래. 질 최담제 코로나 양능이도 누구 유전디 순거래. 인교랑단디 차상게.
And so now, if you're following along in the book, let me just find the page in English. Okay, so we're actually really. I think we're in the introduction, and here it is on, there's no page number, but it's would be on 42, 43, 44, 45 within the introduction. And it asks the question here, what is the error of this confusion? All experiences are suffering. Do you see that spot? When can this confusion be transformed into primordial wisdom? When one attains unsurpassable enlightenment. So that's where we are now. And so we have to look, what's the problem with what we've been calling here deluded appearances, or are regarding them in a deluded, perverted way? What is the error there? Well, it's because, again, as we've said, the fault is that this is the root of suffering. This is the very root of all of our suffering. And where, as we've said, we're on the border of suffering and happiness. When it comes to the root of happiness is achieving this primordial wisdom, as it says here in our text. When can this confusion be transformed into primordial wisdom? Well, it's through habituating the mind of emptiness, of continuing to develop into authentic bodhicitta. And when we do this, reaching the point of Dharmakaya, of nirvana, reaching the point of nirvana, when we reach and will have the mind's nature, which is emptiness, which is great luminosity and suchness, through our conditioning ourselves in the minds of bodhicitta and emptiness, then this mind of luminosity, just as it is, will become evident to us, because this is antidotal to the mind of delusion. The deluded appearances will now be contraindicated, and one will see one's own mind. One will see one's mind arises as wisdom. It arises as the great clarity of luminosity, just as it is.
오다 때나 크로완 딜라 크로와 인루 가르사 때나 크로와라 랑상 요탐 냠나스 크로와라 타메 프타파티노 다 크로와라 니베 베저 마제베 상기노야 텐데 여러베즈니 텐데 요마레 크로와신데 타요 마르슬라브레 아니 안지든 우마지게바나 지든디니 크로와라 타요멘 타메 민즈르 중레 다 아주 크로이 타싱지 파기 세 저주다나 토메 타야 라야요 마리 타메 타요 마리 지시 레다 뇽몽 마세 출바 된진데 마세 버도 크로와라 토다니가 요 마레세 수레 오다 크로와시네 땅봉 원진 투부가다 민시베게 쳔버리 크로와시디가라 지시 레다 뇽몽 왕게 토시비세모니 마르냐캄 쳬게 버도 균체 메퍼 양 덴로키 다 자제 게벨레기 덴루 리듬 판거레 미게벨레기 나송송나 판거레 다도 소토 토메 마리베니 소네 가시 버도 다 텐디나 게바니 손데 시시 버도 맞어 로카선 되기도 다가 나신기 베에 텐데 연라 찌마세 아니 빼 연라 mambuji maze bor dusche de gala pe tape ta gyuni omar tape croasing de tartuna ngaranzo lenging pambe zaji gi pumbode croare de yore croaze ta rimbuji sego samthar mo tangwa keke omare oda tin de gala ngaranzo khaje lenging silin sibe soltebe 아니 빼 방대 인친절라 코로아레디요라 오다 되기데 아주 뭐다 쳐지지 되니 딜라에니 직 소보지 디 렌진제야는 베좀 맞잖아 코로발라 타요 말에 다 간사 게르소소기 아니 빼 베지지 아니 빼 되지나 토메 타메견 타메 타요래 라브레 타마데 가르레 똥인 또베 롱문도 기르용디 갈라 단지 마리바 순충도 그래. 단지 마리바 매차도 그래. 어다 티니 아니 베 통남 토바네 존데 아니 지시 사마게 버도 레 마리베 원게 레사야요 말. 마리베 사분 가사래. 레사야 메인자 파팔라 레사사 메제 규제 어다 두고 그래. 이나양 옴람단테네 비 윤릉부지 소사고도 가르쳐르잖아. 디 나란조 껴앙아마 사샤게 레디 베 뉴몽바단 시지디바 빵에게 답시지거로 마도 뉴몽베도단 시진디바 sartu sayatani keke yo mare se labre ota ti indikala shivun ne chambu chadi ora ti indikala korwa be bezujine korwa toltab chegora mado be bezu mache korwa toltab yo marese oda tisun ta yeme oda tisun gore
Ola so di check hakoma songeshla. Di gomlam di dribni.
gomlam dadwa tonam thopti satangbuto bro
Re.
sachu yorwa
Re.
ta
Di sewa ngoma gi ledi.
kewa ngama gi leto pangya ani sadumba pordo nyumong de zo pang
Ola.
sa gepani kewa ngama ni sa chebe shidip de zo pangyo res
Ola so.
ani tonam thopsar jude ta le sar to sa e gyun meson ta le sar sa mela
Ola so.
le ta ko tonam pe gyula kewa ngame le yorwa te pangu gore
Ola so.
다 그런 서도 사에 균이요 말에 다 제den 로야 마도 디요 말에 단다
Ola
빵자
so.
뉴몽 빵야 돼에 싱멜라 사파네 진고 부야 일라 그러 싱멜라 사나 라량 에메 싱진로에 용마로와 달라차니 빼때가 싱고 짜면 가도 걸어
Ola so.
엔 서 멜라사나 그 트랜스는 양 매 당님도 내뒤가라 사보라지 자고르데 트랜스는 양기로 세르몬 기르고와 자공을 자이나데 세리나다 근데 말이지 싱멜라 사바나지 보고요 라고
Ola so.
때때 야보도 와 사원 매겐주는 방구 그래서 왔다도나
La so di umashi gyapa ki sikche di yanker.
지된데는 코로알라 타에 메인 타메 민
Ola so.
타이 토메타 요바 말에 타메타 요 말에 라르 코로알라
And so, when can this confusion be transformed into primordial wisdom? When one attains unsurpassable enlightenment. And so, we need to work hard here. We need to really make good and concerted effort in this path. And as it's said in the 400 verses of the Middle Way, when you look at samsara, you won't find a beginning. When you look at samsara, you won't find an end. And this is as long as you don't cut off the root of confusion, as long as you don't uproot your delusion, because as long as we have deluded apprehensions of our experience, we will create karma. And as long as we are creating karma, we have actions, we have karmas created to our deluded understandings, and unceasingly we create negative karmas. We create and collect contaminated karmas. Unceasingly, from now until we die, however long that might be. And then we are then go into another of the 12 links of becoming, craving and becoming, and then once again, karmic formation, and around we go again. And this is all due to collecting negative karmas. And this is all due to the aggregates of this body. Again, within the 12 links, we take on a form. And then the 12 links circle and circle and circle. And whenever there is karmic collection, we circle in cyclic existence. But that won't be the case if one is able to completely turn this around and rid themselves of clinging to a true and substantial reality, to the way they apprehend their surroundings, because there is a way to bring this to an end. And make effort. This is how we will bring it to an end. Work very hard in your practice of the Dharma. And what does this mean primarily? This means to have a direct realization of emptiness, have direct realization of the lack of intrinsic existence in things, to cut self-clinging and to cut the root of ignorance. And in this way, having done such, seeing emptiness directly, actually automatically self-clinging and ignorance will be uprooted just through directly perceiving emptiness, and we will have reached the path of seeing, which is the first bodhisattva bhumi. And from the time of reaching the path of seeing, or the first bodhisattva bhumi, all the way to achieving Buddhahood, we will no longer be collecting karmic. We will no longer have these karmic collections because we will no longer be deluded and we will no longer be ignorant of this, of seeing the absolute nature. And so now it's time for us to be on the path of habituation. So once reaching the path of seeing, we then enter the path of habituation, and we stay on the path of habituation until becoming completely enlightened. During the time of this path of habituation, we are no longer collecting karma, and no longer collecting these like karmas. We don't have this collection anymore. Remember, we have entered at this point the Arya path. We have entered into the, into a noble being. However, we will still be subject to needing to clear away the two obscurations, or to the two veils that obscure us from total awakening, and those are the obscurations of afflicted mental states, and the more subtle obscuration of the cognitive obscurations. And we still need to abandon both of these obscurations, and we are still bringing to an exhaustion any karmas that were created in our previous lives. And these need to be like eaten up, like the fire eats, burns away the firewood. And so when we experience this karma and exhaust it, there's nothing left to burn. It's like the firewood that has been burnt away. And, when we, burn firewood, there's something, that feeds the fire, and then it's exhausted. When we put gold, the mela ser, chaktan ser.
Meda teyendo ko tane yang changol ngirura ta nyomu de la kyonji tone ja chana kyol thong thore de te khaptula to so nyomu kyonyi ba ha ko gore jugo nyomu tang to lang che gore ko pet zawad me ma zona.
And so, but when we put iron or gold in the fire, they just become hot. There's no, like, the transformation isn't the same as like when we're putting in the firewood, and the firewood is being likened to the afflictive emotions, which burn them completely away. They're used up, so to speak. And all of these karmas that we have created in previous lives will be used up, and they will be used up and gone just by like firewood will be used, and we will be liberated following this path, this graduated like series of events here. Then we will be liberated from samsara.
Petaka yang di talade shingling gurdoy gunyo marwa ota tena jinchene zanzi mari pate ngozine ani tenni meazne kemerun chujunjine pangure zate sungwar kyon thonga samji ani pe chik phagin gonen ba samji phing mare labre.
So we need to identify our afflicted mental states, like we need to identify the fault in what occurs due to misapprehending our appearances, and also see the fault in the afflictions in our mind. Afflicted mental states are afflicted emotions. However, simply recognizing them will only suppress them. It won't cut them to the root. It will not burn them away like the fire burns away firewood. When you burn firewood, there's nothing left. It is completely eliminated. And directly seeing emptiness, directly seeing the actual way these appearances are what has the power of this fire to completely burn them away, and we will be rid of them. Whereas if we only identify the fault in them, this will just suppress them.
Deltana Croandilla Trua in Lusams, Samlongazo Croala and Be Candice Trundu, Trulsan, Trulu, Lam Northern, Nolu, Chazanji, Samlo Jipsabo, Nimbujin Tangures. They must say, they Wangijunwe, Lindsay Wangijunwe, and Be Dungalde, Katsuchi, Shu Chele, Dungalji Namta. Dungal singing the Yona, and if they were 1 minute ba, they were the Tisukanga Samdangore, Dungal Chesotam, Yun Ringlo Sam, Sisungwa, and if Taco, Pe, you the Maze Porto, Dungal the Yon Chiba Degirwa. Chesa, Mar, Taki Kondo Juju, Maripa, and if Tendel Chi Masegan, the Maripe Tendel Chi, Yanker. Maripani, so the Sendela Chungi Jen tended to Yongware. To sit up, also Karsore. Dungalgi, Chinta, Dungalgi, and Traven Tsundegan Zondaji, Chagit, Chadon Traven Tsundegan Zondaji, what a tendichadiore. That deep Mazuguare. Lujung Tendel Zedugala, Maripangape,
Lunchuton Tundra,
Lunjung Tendel.
Lunju.
Tendel. Ta Maripangape, Nipandichi Gilenga, Sumba and Nipe Numunching Namshit and Gandoya. What a do sini Garimji Sundua. Tigata and Nipe Tingar Garni, Sangi Sandu Gorwa. What a ticket she would get Chimbuchare. A Rantul Nelu, Tape Bezu Majeba, and Nicola Triam. Mesa melu to some tangures. The Sambe melu teltra lepes. Tui tirini so de lame chanchu mato chanchu mitop ke parla betsalo zersungdoa. That tui tirini so de hakoen so de lengi hakoen so de sagi mato pordon zam majeba beze chegore any bepa chegore yani yando samutangore. And some Taman Zamai, some can't tabate, Gutola Jane, any pay Dibachine, any pay Tezon Gomsu Yamatal Vachores, Tepakan Chibit, Tetun de la Samutan. Samutan is Lolan Nebandi on the Gala, and it pay Tatung Lola Comdite, Lam Yamsulan, Tezon Gomsu Yamatal Guare. Then I took Chiwachigane. Kalaza Dugala, any Sumajiana, Sumadechi, Deji, telling him to Subjiana, Kanga, Ruruchi, the Yamdochi, the Tejana, Jimbudoa. Any Dane de Laza, Sumaza, any Quakolazana, Tezamchitra Lego Marva. What a tenagentini. Zuvine, could you Yonsus Obenon, Draminda Bay Julen Juna, Zufutoyan Pingore. Rocampa, Chicampa Chibaina, Zuvoyan, Kozaina, Zuvoli Chilega Mare. Tena Jinji, Tesam Gamsum, Tichi to Chetuina, Kotuacheore. And in some lodge, Tebatache, and a Tebate won't be won't be called Namshiki Yuls and Jiremado, Ishiletas and Pengo Mare. That some Lotani Ishilling grew under war. The way Ishilling grew do it. Drungende, any pay, then Zilon one and to war. The mother cover it.
And then again in our text, understand that samsara is confusion. Let's just go back. I think we still need to do this sentence. If you think that perhaps this confusion will disappear by itself, then understand that samsara is known to be endless. So we've just discussed that. Understand that samsara is confusion. Understand how much suffering is there. Understand how long it endures. Understand there is no self-liberation. And so, how to fix this then? How do we then directly, find a way to make this work? We have to understand that under the sway of our regarding things as true and real and substantial, we've made things very solid. We've really solidified things, and therefore we suffer in this way. And this is something that isn't reaping us a lot of benefit. This hasn't been helping us. And how long will this be? How long? So right now, it's causing suffering. It actually, because of suffering, it prevents us from being happy. And that's our experience right now. And how long will that last? We've already said that as long as we have the cause, as long as we have created the cause, we will experience that. As long as we have ignorance, we will then be led into these 12 links of like interdependent origination, just like we have arrived at right now. And what does it bring us to? It brings us suffering. And so, so when we recognize directly emptiness, this cuts the link of the forward-moving links of interdependent origination, because we will then, with having this consciousness being liberated, we will not enter into the first three links that will cause us to take on a form, and therefore be subject to a samsaric existence and take a rebirth into samsara. So we will cut actually the link that will lead us into these 12, into the 12 links. And so as it says here in our text, therefore from today onward you should make as much effort as possible to achieve unsurpassable enlightenment. And what manner of things are needed in order to make this kind of effort? So from today onwards, from this moment onwards, from the moment we know about this onward, we shouldn't forget about these things. And we should apply ourselves with really fervent diligence in hearing, thinking, and meditating on all of these things, and never be separated from them. Inseparable. We should, with every moment, be inseparable from our learning and our contemplating and our meditating. So, if these things should be done all together, all at once, and we should never be separated from them. So we should study, and we should think about what we study, contemplate it, always have it in our mind, and always be single-pointedly, with these things, with whatever it is that we're contemplating. We should never, be distracted from it. Actually, if we think about it in terms of like making a delicious meal, something that's very satisfying, something that we look forward to, then we, take a nice broth and we take some nice spices, and then we add the rice and all of the fixings, and we boil it up, and we have a delicious meal, and we eat it because we've added all of those things together. And it's something very satisfying, something we look forward to, like taking as a meal. But if you think about it, what if you were to only take the rice only, and eat only the rice? Would that be something we probably wouldn't be terribly excited about doing that again and again. No, it has to be with all of those ingredients together, and then it satisfies us, it nourishes us, we get somewhere with it, and we look forward to having that experience again, as well. And in the same way, within our path of practice, we need to get a taste of the experience of the practice, so we don't just single out the learning. In order to get a taste for this and really to be excited and really interested and inspired to practice again, we need to take all of these three together at the same time. And this is a very important point, because we need to eliminate, completely annihilate the way that we are apprehending the world, and we need to be transformed into, wisdom. We need to have this confusion or delusion transformed or arise as wisdom. And in order to do this is going to need a lot of effort. So we should really persevere in this.
Tea break. Now, okay.
So we take a break here.